Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Now you are alive.
Should I start?
You can start.
Ma'am, I don't agree with the statement that deadline kills creativity. Because if there is a proper time management, we can complete any task before the deadline, ma'am.
And deadline, it depends upon the individual. It doesn't matter. Some can complete the task on time, and some can delay that. So we cannot say that deadline kills creativity.
Yes, I agree with the statement. Deadline kills creativity. Sometimes we need some peaceful of time to create and new things. Yes, I agree with that.
I partially agree and partially disagree with that because if the deadline is short, it's not given enough time, then it does kill the creativity. But if the deadline is long enough, it does not kill the creativity.
I agree with the statement. Deadlines kills creativity because uh, we need to complete task within time. Uh, then we graded properly. Without complete task, we not to graded.
As it is said that patience is virtue. To make something good, something great, we need time. It takes time. So when deadline is put on something which we are assigned, um, it depends totally on the work amount of work to be done and on the individual. Because if the amount of work to be done is a lot more, then a person not only thinks to the person only thinks to sum it up as quickly as possible. So deadline does make our creativity kill.
I agree with all these statements. Um, yes, deadline kills creativity. It is based on the work amount of work and time management. If we use sufficient time on the work, then it will complete within time.
As I agree with the statement, deadline kills creativity because we need some time to create new things or new solutions to the work.
I partially agree with the statement deadline kills the creativity because if there's no deadline, we'll become lazy and we will postpone the work and we won't be able to do that. And if there is no deadline, we will become lazy. If there is a deadline, then we will become, if there is no sufficient time, we'll just stretch some easy ways and do that without using our creativity.
I partially agree with this statement. Deadline skills creativity. It depends on the person. Some persons done work in eating time. Some other persons cannot effort put its efforts due to less time to create new things.
As the team said, I agree with everyone. Not everybody is gifted with a good knowledge, nor everybody is cursed with a great knowledge. It's based upon the individual. Some people need more time for gaining knowledge, or some people need extra time for gaining, for creating new things. For creating new things. So, if the time is given, so people can make sure that they can create new things, man. It as well as it's also a great disadvantage that giving a deadline kills the creativity of the human or individual.
I should have to continue. As my friend Kiran stated, he stated that deadline kills creativity. I want him to ask a question that it depends upon the individual. So, if if anyone higher authority gives a deadline, we have to make up with the task. So, if you are not make up with the task, so that particular individual will called as unfit. So, what is your opinion about that?
That was a long question, and about the answer. When authority assigns you a work, uh, if the work is it totally depends on the work. If it needs to be completed or it needs to be completed in a created way, it totally depends on that. If the work only needs to be completed, the individual can complete in within hours or within days, within the deadline. But what I stated was, it depends on individual about does the work needed to be created in a created way, I mean a more fashionable way, more attractive way. That's what I meant.
I
Would you
agree
like to
with the
concur?
Kiran. I agree with Kiran.
Yes.
I'll agree with Kiran. As of they given a deadline means if one individual cannot do the work as the Dilip said, the only way to do the work is teamwork.
I think the deadlines sometimes bring creativity to us because sometimes, like when we are given a deadline, there is some kind of chemical reaction that might make us to think fast, and sometimes we might come up with solutions that we might not be able to come if we are given a long time. As my teammate said, deadline. If there is no deadline, it does create laziness among us, and if you have laziness, there is no scope for creativity. So yes, deadline does give sometimes a chance for creativity, and sometimes not. If someone adds something,
I agree with the law. The positive thing of a deadline is it's a challenging for every individual.
As every coin has two phases, like pros and cons. And in creativity, deadline, if a work is done within the given time, it is called a successful work. And if we delay, we cannot that cannot lead to a success, and it depends on the individual. There are different types of individual, like some do hard work and some do smart work. Hard work, um, hard work hard work with the smart work can lead to a success, because if we think to do some work in a smart way, it can be completed within the given period of time.
I agree with Law and Kusum. As Law said, it will create some chemical reactions in our brain when we get a limited amount of time and we need to do a lot of work. And I believe that sometimes when we are under pressure, we come up with ideas, ideas, not ideas particularly, to be precise, they may be shortcuts, because if you want to complete some task within limited amount of time, we think of how can I complete in how can I find a short way or a simple way to create, to make that work possible, which will make my task or complete or which I can complete my task in within time. So I totally agree with Law and Kusum. Anybody else would like to add something?
Deadline has another disadvantage. We just drain ourselves involving in the work.
I guess we should be capable of doing things within a particular period of time. So, what do you say about that? See, if you see everything as a deadline, we don't live eternal. Like we don't have eternal life. Everyone needs to die someday. So everything has a deadline. But the solution for this problem, I would say, is that instead of keeping mind on the deadline, if you focus more on the solution and the aspect of creating, like bringing up a creative solution, the deadline does matter, but let's keep it in a part of the brain, but not letting it to come up all the way. Just keep it subsided somewhere in your brain and just work on the most creative solution that is possible within the deadline.
Law, as you said about creativity, about only one individual, right? No one having that creativity, right?
Sorry, come again.
N- As you said about creativity, no one has that much of creativity, right?
See, creativity comes over the period of time, and that happens. See,
So
life
you
is,
mentioned period of time.
yeah,
So
life.
deadline.
Yeah, listen. Life is kind of collection of small pieces that ends every time. For example, this day will end at 12 a.m. Right. So that is the deadline of the day. This second has passed. The next second will pass sooner. So
Like
everything has a deadline.
everything has a period of time for learning implementation. So if a deadline has given that the learning and implementation time takes a lot of time. So it so we cannot do the work perfectly in the time. So in
Yes,
my view,
yes.
the only solution is teamwork. Will you agree
Yeah,
with me?
yeah, it's absolutely teamwork, but you should take maximum amount of that
Why
profit from
teamwork
given
means
deadline.
one why teamwork means one can share the ideas to others and enhance their knowledge.
Yes, you
It's the
can.
only
And
fa- is the only fastest way. Here the important thing is in this is the time. We should have time in our hands.
yes, you should. And you should learn from others. So teamwork is important, and everyone adds something or the other in their deadline, and we learn it from that. For example, Isaac Newton was given the three laws. We cannot again go and just create some three laws. So it's waste of reinventing the wheel. So that's the thing. The concept is that take the maximum output from the given deadline as you as an individual, and the rest will do their part, and you learn from there. Because as it is said that if you learn from your mistakes, it will be never sufficient. You should learn from others' mistakes too. So yes, teamwork does matter, and as an individual, you should work on yourself and your creativity in the given deadline.
So in short term, you're saying one should be spontaneous and accurate in the work, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm agreed. Simhachalam, do you want to say anything? Or Teja? And I also need Jayashree to share her views.
Sorry.
And I also need Jayashree to share her views.
Always teamwork is not possible, because every individual has to play their role in teamwork. So um, if one couldn't complete their work in some period, so if they went, if then that time will definitely go for a teamwork if he couldn't. But always teamwork matters, but all the time it doesn't work, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's the only what I and Law discussed that. What will you say, Teja? You have any ideas or views?
I agree with your points, man.
Um, Pratish, you talking about teamwork. I have point to say.
Yeah.
Not always teamwork will be good because this what we are doing, that group
Hello. Hello. I'm not audible. Hello. Hello. Hello, Kiran. I'm not audible.